with type 2 diabetes, at diagnosis, you start them on metformin, you have them do medical nutrition therapy, and then you ask yourself, are they meeting their glycemic targets? If the answer is no, then you add therapies, and then you see them every 3 months until you get them under control. If you have somebody who's well controlled, it's okay to see them every 6 months and check their A1Cs twice a year. Okay, but if not, then you're going to be seeing those people quarterly until you get them under control. Hypoglycemia is something I think we have to talk about. The causes: too much insulin, too much pill. Somebody skips a meal, delays a meal. If they miscalculate carbohydrate intake. I never will forget one time my in-laws had started the Atkins diet, and over at their house going to have a steak and some broccoli and a nice spinach salad, and thought, man, that's a lot of food, and took some insulin, and about an hour later I'm like, wow, man, I feel like my blood sugar's low. And I got to thinking, I was like, well, I didn't eat any carbohydrate. This was like all fat and green vegetables. And so it just kind of, that happened to me. It can happen to anybody. So if you start seeing somebody that you can be misled, if you eat a lot of food, but it's protein, fat, or green vegetable. Now, if it's flour vegetable, or, then it's a different story. But you can miscalculate fairly easily with some foods. If people drink alcohol without food, alcohol can shut down gluconeogenesis, and so you can get low blood sugars from that too. So you want to caution about that. The definition of hypoglycemia is blood sugar is less than 70. The way you treat that is with 15 grams of carbohydrate. And the reason why 15 grams, because that raises somebody's blood sugar up about 50 points or so. So if somebody has a blood sugar of 50 to 60 and you give them 15 grams, in about 30 minutes their blood sugar will be about 110. Okay? If they eat. Now, this is incredibly hard to do, because when you are hypoglycemic, you become incredibly hungry. Okay? And so if somebody says, well, here, you're going to eat this little apple, and, you're sweating bullets because your blood sugar is low, and, you're ravenously hungry because your stomach is emptying so fast, it's hard to stop at 15 grams. But that's the rationale for eating the 15-gram rule. The treatment there you see where it says 15 grams of carbohydrate, wait 15 minutes, and then retest. If it's not coming up after 15 minutes, then you can treat again with more carbohydrate. This is just an example of what 15 grams is. 1 fruit, 1 glass of milk, 1 starch. So that's like a slice of bread, or they talk about the fun size. Whenever you're low, you don't want fun size. You want the extra king size. Yeah. The thing that's interesting here, I will show you. This is kind of interesting to me. That when somebody has a low blood sugar, it increases, because if you can have eaten very recently, but if your blood sugar is low, it's like the biggest dose of Rayglan that you can imagine when it comes to gastric emptying, because your gastric emptying goes from about 50 minutes to about 25 minutes. So, it's like your stomach is pushing things through, trying to get stuff into your small bowel so you can absorb it. Interestingly, adding carbohydrate does not help at all. And people often say that, well, you need a little protein with that carbohydrate. It'll keep you from getting low later. Doesn't help. Kind of an old wives' tale. And then if they're on insulin, or really if they're even on a sulfonylurea, they ought to have a glucagon pen. And this will keep you out of the ER. And so if somebody has severe hypoglycemia, and this basically means hypoglycemia that requires somebody to help you because you're obtunded, you are so low that your brain's not functioning, then you need to be able to the person needs to tell those people around them, hey, give me a shot of glucagon. When I was in college, I had a roommate that I told him, and he was kind of a smart alecky type, and he called it, and when you have glucagon, it's this right here is liquid, and in here there's this white rock, and it's powder is what it is, and you inject the liquid into the powder and then pull the what you've just saturated back into the syringe to give the shot. And so every once in a while I'd say, hey, I feel like my blood sugar is low. He'd go, Matt, do I need to give you the rock? I'd say, no rock needed. Just give me an apple. So, but it is a prescription medicine, and it is something good to have around because it does raise blood sugar. It doesn't require the person to eat. So it's also a good idea for them to have some type of medic alert bracelet as well. And as I mentioned, teach other people about how to inject glucagon. Okay, just like a minute or two left. Let's get through these questions. Which one of the following types of insulin should never be mixed with any other form of insulin? All right, the answer, Lantus, glargine, is because it's got a pH of 4. Remember, that's not good for proteins, and so most of these are proteins. And I don't know why it doesn't affect the Lantus. I never thought of that, but it does cause it to break down. From that slowly return back to neutral pH allows it to break down to a monomer. All right, 42-year-old female with a body mass index of 31 has a 3-week history of polyuria polydipsia accompanied by 10-pound weight loss. Fasting glucose is 320. A1C is 11. Initial treatment with which one of the following will reduce glucose toxicity and improve glycemic response? All right, answer is E, 100%. Man, you guys are so smart. All right. Let's see. I can't read that. Eat within 15 minutes of administration of which of the following. So basically, which of these are the ultra-fast acting, the monomeric insulins? Which one of these do you have to eat within 15 minutes of taking the insulin? I think there are 2 answers here. So, Sue, mark it down. There's 2 correct answers. This is kind of hard because we're using generic names. That's Apidra, and that's Humalog. So the correct answers are B and E. Oh, come on. All right, 58-year-old male with type 2 diabetes has started on twice-a-day insulin consisting of 20 units of MPH and 10 units of regular insulin in the morning and 10 units of MPH and 4 units of regular insulin in the evening before dinner. Fasting glucose levels have generally been in the 140 to 180 range, as have his glucose levels before lunch and dinner. So he's 140 to 180 fasting and before meals, so that tells you that he's not getting enough basal insulin. But he complains of frequent mid-morning hypoglycemic episodes requiring mid-morning snacks, as well as hypoglycemic episodes just before bedtime, also requiring snacks. So he's got a lot of lows after eating. So which one of the following adjustments is most likely to be effective? So the most likely thing, the most physiologic thing would be to put him on a basal bolus regimen, which would consist of giving him like Levemir or Lantus along with one of the monomeric insulins at meals. Mechanisms of action of Byetta, or we should add Victoza, include which of the following? Mark all that are true. So your GLP-1 analogs, what are the mechanisms of action? A is true. Is B true? Yeah. C? No. C is a TZD, isn't it? D is true. Slows gastric motility. E, that is like precose, or acarbose. So A, B, D. Oh, I didn't see the answer. I think the answers are A, B, and D.